Thank you. Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is Misty on The Fixed Fight. I just want to thank y'all for everyone that's been calling in. We've had an amazing amount of encouraging calls this past week, and I just thank those that are viewing with us tonight. We're coming to you tonight towards the community of recovery. We have a lot of issues out in Birmingham, and we have an expert here tonight. I'm very excited to have her. I also want to thank my sponsors tonight, Out From Under and Together We Serve. I'm so happy that they are a part of this too. If y'all would, I'm going to pray us in, and then we're going to meet our guest tonight. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, I just come to you tonight with a humble heart, grateful for the chance to share hope through this podcast, Lord. Just remind us, Lord, that there are so many in need that need help from healing from addiction. They need freedom, Lord. We just want them to be inspired and encouraged by our podcast tonight. And we thank you for the workers in the field and the ones we're going to meet tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. So tonight, y'all, I have a very special guest with me from the Addiction Prevention Coalition. Miss Nichole Dawsey is with me tonight, y'all.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here tonight.
I'm so excited to be here.
So I tried to narrow down what y'all do. Can I read it?
Go for it. It's a lot.
And we just, really the goal of our show tonight, y'all, is for y'all to get involved. So we want to find out how the Christian community can come alongside you guys to really help fight this thing in Birmingham. So I'm going to read it. The Addiction Prevention Coalition of Birmingham is a nonprofit organization that works to eliminate addiction in Central Alabama by providing prevention education, connecting individuals to recovery resources, reducing the stigma associated with substance abuse, and you serve individuals and families impacted by addiction, including at-risk youth, students, parents, and the general public, the recovery community, and you do it through various programs, awareness campaigns, and support initiatives. Whew.
Yes, ma'am.
Whoa. I was going to try to remember that. That's not happening. So, Nichole, I know I met you last year, or this year, at
in April, right?
Yes. And I was just amazed at what you've been able to accomplish in such a short time. I know you came to APC last year?
Yes, I came to APC in July of 24, but APC was founded in 2007. So we were founded as a warm line, really providing kind of hope and support for family members who had a loved one that were going through active addiction. And over the years, we've expanded the direct services that we provided. So we've been going strong since 2007, but I moved to Birmingham last summer after having worked for 16 years in a very similar, albeit a little larger organization in Missouri, where we covered the eastern region of the state. So did that for 16 years, 6 of those as executive director, and then I found my way to Birmingham, and Carrie Wimberly, who was the previous executive director, was looking to retire. She and I were connected through a mutual colleague. That colleague said she wants to retire. She hasn't really found the person to step into her role. You're moving to Birmingham. Why don't you two have coffee? Right. And within 5 minutes, she and I were finishing each other's sentences, and we had just a beautiful conversation. And I was lucky enough that the board hired me. So here we are.
Yes, and you have a master's of public health.
I do. So I, believe it or not, I have my bachelor's in political theory. I went to school in Washington, D.C., really thought I wanted to be a campaign manager.
Okay.
Worked on the Hill.
You kind of are now.
Kind of, right. And then when I was looking to graduate, I knew I didn't really want to do that. And I felt called to service. So I joined an AmeriCorps program that sent me to Southern Louisiana, where I taught middle school.
Okay.
And wonderful experience, but the hardest experience of my life.
Really?
And it was because most of my students, I was working in a very, very poor, very rural school. And in the 6th grade, which is what I was teaching, most of my students were 15 years old, which is not the correct age for a 6th grader.
Yes.
And they had been socially promoted. A lot of them couldn't read. Many of them were selling drugs or were running their family, raising their younger brothers and sisters because their parents were either working or who knows where. Yeah. And it really struck me that they needed to learn life skills.
Yeah.
And so they needed education, but a different kind of education than what I was teaching. How could I get them to care about the Roman Empire or long division, right? If they didn't know where their next meal was going to come from.
That's right.
And so Maslow's hierarchy of needs says that you need to have your basic needs met before you can really have fulfillment and self-actualization. And so that's what led me into the idea of public health, which is how do we provide education on a much broader level? So that took me into believe it or not, this was in the early 2000s, pandemic flu preparation, bird flu preparation, when that was a thing. Methamphetamine, because methamphetamine was all the rage, particularly the home labs. A lot about communicable disease prevention and the intersection between the two. And I got an internship at the company where I spent 16 years. And I'm not a person in long-term recovery.
Yeah.
And growing up, we didn't really talk about addiction.
Yeah.
I did not know that substance use disorder impacted my family. I didn't know what was wrong, quote unquote, with this uncle or that cousin. I just knew that we severed ties from them, right? I also did not understand why I was making certain choices in my relationships. And then I'm in this field, right? And I'm looking around going,
Yes.
like, oh, that's what this thing is called.
Yes.
And that's why this behavior is the way that it is. And that's why it's impacting me the way that it is. So right now I have several loved ones to this day that are in active addiction.
Yeah.
I've lost loved ones. And I am so proud of the people that I get to call my friends who are in recovery.
We were talking before we went on camera, about how, and I love this about you guys, how we can, the Christian community here, and even our listeners, how we can come alongside and serve and partner with you. And really, in the Birmingham area, really be hands and feet and serve. I know a lot of people want to know how to get involved.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is either you don't know how to get involved, or we think and I do this if I just donate, but we know that hands and feet and help. What do you think for our listeners? How could they get involved? How could we best serve the APC?
Yeah.
How could we serve you? Because our heart here at Fix Fight is for addiction, and it is here at BGTV Studios as well. So I'm just, what can we do?
How do you help?
Yeah.
I think and this is going to sound so trite, but I mean it from the tips of my toes, is that the best way to help is to have conversations. Open and honest, judgment-free conversations in your family.
Yeah.
Being open to the idea that you and I might work alongside of each other all day, every day in the same cubes, and I have no idea what you're going through. So I need to treat you as a human, because I don't know if you're going through something. I don't know if you have a teenager that is struggling with substances and you are losing sleep at night. Maybe you've just lost somebody. Maybe you are going through your own challenges and you're like, am I drinking too much? You know, and forget about the mental health aspect, right? So, so just by being willing to have a conversation and come at it with an open mind is such a critical piece. Now, if that's not enough for you and you want to help more, you could do things.
Our guys probably want to help more.
Right, exactly. Okay. So we distribute hygiene kits to our unhoused folks in the community. We do that alongside with distributing Narcan, fentanyl test strips, and wound care supplies, because xylazine is definitely here in Birmingham, and we're seeing that more often. So even if a church, for example, or a fellowship group wants to have a collection for shampoo or for toothpaste or things like that, we could put that to good use.
Okay. So a drive for hygiene to help you out.
Sure.
So you guys, do you do this in specific places at specific times?
So we, yes, and we are not trying to recreate the wheel. So we go out with a lot of our partners who are doing this work. For example, Food for Our Journey. They provide warm meals to the community in Birmingham. So a lot of times we will ride along with them, or our folks at One Roof who are working to provide housing. We will do things called pop-up resource fairs where we will look at overdose rates and where a need has been expressed, either because there's deaths happening or because we know that there is a business owner who wants to open their doors and make a difference. And so those pop-up resource fairs will provide pizza, HIV and Hep C testing, Narcan, wound care kits, and hygiene supplies. And we do those quarterly.
Could our folks come along? I mean, not associated with. I'm not trying to do that.
Absolutely.
Because we have some ministries that are here at BGTV Studios that
we would love
that do street ministry, and it might be something to come alongside you and just be of service in a spiritual way.
Yes.
Which we love to do. It's very, I'm going to get to be a part of it next month. I can't wait. I know.
That's
I'm
wonderful.
excited. It's my first time to go down. I'm just really excited. But so what would you say is, and I know you got your finger on the pulse of what's going on in Birmingham.
I try to.
I know you do. And that's why I wanted to talk to you here. First, I loved you. I loved meeting you. You're just an amazing person. But
thank you. Right back at you.
I just... What do you think Birmingham is suffering the most? I know you mentioned methamphetamines. What do our parents and our families out there, what do we not know?
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with really good news.
Cool.
The good news is that in Birmingham, across the state and nationally, our young people are using drugs at unprecedentedly low rates.
Okay.
So Gen Alpha, I think is what we're in now, are drinking at lower rates than ever before. As a result, alcohol sales are plummeting. Cannabis, even though people thought, including myself, that all of the legalization would lead to much higher usage, young people really aren't doing it nearly as much as we thought, or as much as older generations are. Are they still making some risky choices? Yeah, of course, they're teenagers. Duh, that's like what they're supposed to do, right? But the good news is that young people really seem to be getting the memo. It's us older folks, and I'm 44, so I'm saying this, so it's really older generations, particularly millennials, and Gen Xers, who and boomers as well, who we are stuck in our ways. And so methamphetamine has never really left. It just looks a little bit different, right? So it's coming more from different countries as opposed to people making it in their homes. Fentanyl is absolutely still here. It's as potent as ever. The DEA suggests that 8 out of 10 counterfeit pills, 8 out of 10 overdose deaths are related to fentanyl. Xylazine is infiltrating.
What is that?
Okay, so xylazine.
I've never heard this word.
So xylazine is an animal tranquilizer.
Okay.
It is not an opioid. So it does not respond to Narcan.
Oh, my.
It creates kind of that zombie-like effect that you might have seen if you go to certain parts of town or if you're watching TV where people are sort of hunched over and look like dead man walking, kind of, like The Walking Dead. Yeah. It also creates open wounds. Now, it's not necessarily at the injection site, which is what we first thought, but it really sort of attaches to the dermal layer, which is where wound care comes in.
Okay.
Now, the state of Alabama has pretty recently, within the last couple of years, has allowed for fentanyl test strips to be made available.
I've seen those. Yes.
The state at this point does not allow xylazine test strips. So people are using drugs and don't know that xylazine is in their drugs. Or they think they might be avoiding it when in reality they're not.
Yeah.
Cocaine is still very present. Again, not in our young people.
Yes.
So, I mean, a little, right?
Yeah.
But I was actually talking to my boyfriend yesterday because we have a new sort of resource card that we distribute at health fairs for parents of teenagers.
Yes.
And the substances we talked about were on the front were alcohol, marijuana, and nicotine and vaping. Okay. Then you flip it over, and on the back is a little bit about prescription drugs. Yeah. And he's like, I'm so surprised that prescription drugs aren't on the front.
Yes.
I was like, well, that's not really that common amongst young people.
Okay.
Now, when young people are doing it, it is more deadly.
Yes.
But in terms of the commonalities,
yes,
it's not really there. And I would be remiss if I didn't also talk about suicide.
Okay.
And so we struggle in this state with folks considering or completing suicide, particularly older males.
Yes.
Veterans.
Yes.
But also older men, older white men.
Yes.
Who have reached maybe the end of their career. Mm-hmm. They're entering retirement.
Identity.
Their whole identity is wrapped up in their job.
Yes.
And now they're retired.
Yes.
And now what are they doing? Yes. And so there is quite an intersection between coping, right, and pain.
Yes.
We don't have a painkiller problem so much as a pain problem when we don't always know how to cope with it.
Yes.
So I could sit here and I could talk about this substance and this substance.
Well, that's
and what's
where we
coming
swoop
back.
into for the spiritual side,
Exactly, because we can talk about the drugs.
Yes.
But we really got to talk about what's driving the demand for the drugs.
Well, you touched on. So you're saying there's a decrease for young people in the traditional drugs.
Yes.
And there's an increase in these things we don't even know how to spell them. I'm kidding, but
yeah. Well, yes.
Xylazine.
There's lots of different zines.
And it's new. It's on the streets here in Birmingham.
It is on the streets in Birmingham. I would say it's not as new as we think it is.
Okay. So we're just seeing a lot more of it.
Correct.
So what do you feel like is successful? I know the outreach. I know that, but what do you think is probably look at you.
Well, you're like teeing me up here.
Well, I don't know. I got a couple things.
Okay.
I know, and because I love Judge Fortune, and I'm going to mention her because I love her very much. But what do you see as the initiatives that you are? What's rolling out that's working?
Okay. So first and foremost, I believe that I know. Not just I believe, but I know that the reason why young people are using drugs at lowest rates in history or lower rates in history than we've seen in a long time is because prevention works. Yes. So getting in and talking to kids, beginning in kindergarten, not about heroin, but about, how to feel good about yourself, how to give a compliment, but also how to receive a compliment and not shrug it off, right? How to work on a team, how to manage uncomfortable feelings and utilize grownups that you trust. That works. I am so jazzed about that. Last year, we served about 6,000 kids, K through 12. This year, we're on track to serve almost 10,000. So that's my heart. That's what we did a lot of in St. Louis, and I'm honored to bring that here to Birmingham on a larger scale, and that is all no cost. So we're working K through 12, public and private schools. Very excited about that. The harm reduction space, which is the fentanyl test strips, Narcan. Very excited about that. We're making inroads with community partners.
Okay.
But also, we're really leaning into the recovery space. And this is where our work with Judge Fortune, shout out to our amazing board member, comes in. Because we're really working on, and really, recovery is a form of prevention, right? And so we're working with drug court folks, people who graduate, people who are trying really hard to graduate. We're also working with folks to provide some alternatives to 12-step models. Not that there's anything bad with 12-step, but we also know that we've got to meet people where they are. And so we have, one thing I'm really geeked about is a peer recovery group for sober-ish, sober curious, whatever you want to call it, people who are in this 12 steps,
and that's
whatever.
That's who we really want to reach, here.
But people specifically in the hospitality industry. Like imagine being
I've
in
seen those
recovery.
meetings.
Or being interested in recovery, but you got to like sling drinks all night. Right? Because that's your livelihood and that's what you like doing. Let's say you really like being in the hospitality industry, but you got to pour wine night after night after night. How do you do that?
I'm
and
not
so
sure
the
how
fact
that would work.
Right. But we have 15 folks who come every Monday to Saturn to show that it's entirely possible and they're thriving in their careers.
And that's why it's cool, to your point, we were talking about this earlier too, there's fellowships.
Yes.
If you can find your people. So if I were in the recovery industry and needed to find people who are like-minded, who are doing things alongside me, that's why it's so important. I think one of the things that you were talking about as a resource is finding fellowship, because coming alongside others is really what we do in the faith-based and Christian community. We know Jesus works, but we come alongside people, and we don't particularly ask people to do anything. We just want to testify that this is what worked for us. So if you have other fellowships, such as where you can identify as someone that pours wine for a living and can't drink, I get it. I get it that you got to find your people. And I think that's the first step. We were talking about this earlier too. The first step to drawing people in, and I really believe this about what we believe here, drawing people in is loving them, giving love, like we were talking about, socks, undergarments, going downtown. We got a lot of people that do that. Food. Narcan, talking. Are you? Sometimes you just need to hear, "You're all right." Are you okay?
Right. I mean, I'm sure you've said it on this podcast a million times that the opposite of addiction is connection.
Yes, I have said it.
This is why we begin teaching prevention in kindergarten.
I love
because
that.
so many people have not ever felt love, don't know how to receive it. They don't love themselves. They don't even know how to do that, right? And so if we can practice radical love.
I love this.
And radical love, right? Like, I'm going to love you first.
That's what
and
I
then
do.
we're going to figure it out.
Yes.
But I have to show up with an open mind and an open heart. And then we can figure out the logistics.
Figure it all out. Yeah, for real. Because that's why I'm sitting here. Somebody just loved me.
Somebody loved you.
Somebody loved me and said, "Are you okay?" And I hadn't heard that in a long time.
And
so
when you ask
them to know
the question,
that.
you have to be able to receive the answer.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing that if people want to get their hands dirty, so to speak, we offer mental health first aid trainings.
Love it.
We offer QPR, which is a 1-hour question, persuade, and refer. How do you work with people who might be considering suicide or having other mental health disorders?
And these are things the general public.
General public, they can reach out to us at info@apcbham.org. We have grant funds to be able to do these programs. We can even do these on site at workplaces. Right? Like we can go to a company that is really thinking about how they can better support their team. And we can offer this training so that we can actually ask each other, how are you?
Yeah.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah. That's good.
I love what I do.
We can find that out on APC.
Yes, you sure can.
I love all the healthy things. And I know that, like I said, and I don't have enough time to go there, but I know that you've got your finger on what's going on. And I just wanted to educate tonight. I really did. And you are such a great resource for that.
Thank you so much.
I did. I want to arm our people that listen to us with what's going on in Birmingham and how they can get involved and how we can help out and how we can serve. We're called to serve and we're called to love, and I think you're doing both of those, and I really, really, really appreciate you coming on here tonight. Is there anything else you'd like for us to, any way we can reach out to you guys? Is there a website or a phone number or some way you'd like for us to?
Sure. So we're really active on socials.
Okay.
So Addiction Prevention Coalition, that's our handle. So it's all one word. Really active on socials. If you're interested even in thinking about how you can better support folks at your workplace, we have a symposium that's coming up completely free of charge. A symposium. Jefferson State Valleydale. I know it's a fancy word for a conference.
I love it, but does that mean like conference?
Yeah, it's a fancy word for a conference,
but we can go and find out some resources.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And it's free, and it's how can we provide, how can we support our coworkers? Because we think about how can we support our kids and how can we support people on the street, but sometimes we don't even think about how we can support the people that we spend most of our
a week.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
I love this. I love this so much. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you that you have a passion for folks in the recovery community. If you want to reach out, if you want to help, Nichole, if you want to get involved, you heard her, APC Birmingham. Also, I did want to mention they have a once-a-year addiction
That's
walk.
correct. And this will be our 10th anniversary this April.
It's so amazing to go serve and to go get all the resources. Nichole, I'm going to brag on y'all for a minute.
Yeah.
There's tables and tables and tables of new stuff, of innovation, of familiar faces that have new things they're promoting. Plus, there's free stuff.
And everyone loves free stuff.
And we get to walk around.
That's true. We're expanding our kid area this year.
Oh,
so
you are?
Yeah, because, recovery is prevention and prevention is recovery.
End addiction,
yes.
Birmingham. End
That's
addiction,
right.
Birmingham. That's really what we're here for tonight. So, y'all, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week.